Hey everyone, it's John from Beer Me That Movie, and today we're going to try something a little experimental. Recently, I got my hands on Google's fancy new notebook experimental AI, and I asked it to review one of my favorite feature films we've ever developed, Banana Whale. Think of it like a film critic robot with terrible taste in beer. The result? Podception, a podcast about our podcast. Yes, I know that sounds pretty weird, and it is, which is exactly why I think you may enjoy this. This episode is a short, sweet recap of one of our favorite feature films, so if you're new to the podcast, it's a great way to get started and catch up on what you missed with Banana Whale, and if you've been here for a while, think of it like a nostalgic trip down memory lane, like cracking open a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. So either way, welcome to the chaos, grab a beer, and enjoy this very different sounding Beer Me That Movie podcast. It sounds different because it's written and hosted by robots.
And now, let's see what the robots think of our first feature film.
Ever find yourself like scrolling through a beer app and thinking, hey, that's a great movie title?
Yeah.
We're tapping into that very idea today.
Okay.
Exploring how the creative names in craft beer
Yep.
can actually spark some awesome film concepts.
Right.
We've got a stack of real beer names here,
Yeah.
ready to be transformed from brews to blockbusters.
Okay, cool.
I like that.
Oh, I like that too.
Brews to blockbusters.
All right. Guess so.
What we're doing is essentially a creative workout.
Yeah. I think it's good to like flex that imagination muscle a little bit
Right.
and see how a simple phrase can become a whole world.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you might be surprised at what we come up with, and who knows?
Yeah,
Maybe it'll inspire your own next creative project.
exactly.
So to kick things off, we're playing Fast Five.
Love it.
We'll rapid fire through 5 different beer names
Okay.
and brainstorm movie ideas on the spot.
I'm ready.
Let's see what we can come up with.
All right.
First up, Smoketoberfest. Now, this one immediately gives me spooky vibes.
Okay.
I'm imagining a thriller
All right.
set at an Oktoberfest celebration
Uh-huh.
where a mysterious fog rolls in
Spooky.
and things start to get, well, strange.
That's a solid starting point, I think.
Yeah.
But what if we kind of like subvert the expectation a little bit?
Okay.
You know, Smoketoberfest could be a hilarious comedy where the smoke isn't supernatural,
Right.
but rather the result of someone trying to make traditional German food
Okay.
and failing spectacularly.
All right.
The real horror is the social awkwardness.
Okay, I'm already chuckling.
It suits.
From spooky thriller to awkward comedy in a matter of seconds.
There you go.
I love it.
I love it.
All right, next up we've got Atomic Torpedo.
Ooh. Okay.
This one's giving me high-stakes action.
Right.
Maybe a tense submarine thriller
Mm-hmm.
with cutting-edge technology
Sure.
and international intrigue.
Okay.
Think Hunt for Red October meets Fast and Furious but underwater.
I like that visual.
Yeah.
But I think if we dig a little deeper,
Okay.
Atomic Torpedo could be more than just a literal weapon.
Right.
What if it's a code name for something else entirely?
Interesting.
Maybe it's a secret project, a piece of lost technology, or even a person.
Ooh.
Suddenly, we've got a mystery on our hands,
Okay.
with the atomic torpedo at the center of it all.
I like where you're going with that.
Yeah,
A good mystery always keeps you on the edge of your seat.
exactly.
Okay. Let's switch gears completely.
Okay.
How about Big Chocolate Ducky?
All right.
Now, this one's a bit more whimsical,
Sure.
but there's definitely a movie in there somewhere.
Okay.
I'm seeing a horror comedy.
Uh-huh.
Maybe a giant chocolate ducky comes to life
Okay.
and terrorizes a small town.
All right.
Think Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, but with a sugary twist.
Leaning into the absurdity is always a good move, I think.
Yeah.
What if we take it even further?
Okay.
Big Chocolate Ducky could be a dark comedy about a struggling chocolate factory that creates a monstrous duck mascot. Huh?
To revive their business.
Right.
Of course, the duck takes on a life of its own,
Sure.
wreaking havoc and becoming a viral sensation.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's got heart, and it's probably got a lot of chocolate.
That's the best part.
What's not to love?
Yeah.
Okay, for our next beer to movie transformation,
Hit me.
we have Cow Tipper.
Cow Tipper.
This one feels like a classic coming-of-age story
Okay.
set in rural America,
Right.
maybe with a young Tipper Gore.
Whoa.
Yes, that Tipper Gore,
Wow.
who discovers her political passion
Okay.
through an unlikely friendship with
I like it.
You guessed it, a cow.
I mean, that's fun, but
Yeah.
let's flip the script a little bit
Okay.
and go a little darker.
All right.
Cow tipper could be the nickname for a vigilante who targets factory farms.
Oh.
It becomes a thriller
Okay.
that explores the ethics of food production and the lengths people will go to for what they believe in.
Wow. From a lighthearted coming-of-age story to a gritty ethical thriller.
You definitely got a knack for this.
You know, I try.
Okay, last but not least,
Yeah, let's hear it.
we've got relax.
Relax.
Now, this one seems straightforward,
Okay.
but I think there's a lot of potential for a thought-provoking story. I'm picturing a short film,
Right.
maybe even a silent film,
Interesting.
about a man who's desperately trying to relax
Okay.
in a world that just won't let him,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
I love that idea.
Yeah.
But what if we add another layer of complexity?
Okay.
Imagine the man is a high-powered executive on his way to a life-changing meeting.
Mm-hmm.
He's physically and mentally on edge.
Okay.
And his inability to relax becomes a metaphor for the pressures of modern life.
Right.
The tension builds as he struggles to maintain composure,
Yeah.
ultimately leading to a moment of truth where he has to decide what's truly important.
You've taken relax and turned it into a commentary on the human condition.
That's the goal.
That's amazing.
I appreciate it.
And it just goes to show even the simplest words can spark incredibly rich stories.
For sure.
We could do this all day,
I wish we could.
but we've got one very special beer name
Okay.
we're diving into for a full movie pitch.
All right.
And trust me, you're going to want to hear this one,
Let's go.
so stay tuned.
Remember that feeling when you're about to do something big,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a part of you that's still holding on to the past?
Yeah.
That's where we find Charlie in Banana Whale. He's about to get married to Gwen, the picture of perfection,
Right?
but then he finds an old memento that sends him spiraling back to his wilder days.
A mysterious memento from the past. Always a good hook.
Yeah.
What kind of object are we thinking?
It could be a concert ticket stub, a faded photograph tucked away in a box,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even an old mixtape with songs that meant something.
Okay.
Whatever it is, it instantly transports him back to his time with Dakota,
Okay.
his banana whale.
Dakota the banana whale. I like it.
The free-spirited, adventurous ex who left a mark on his soul.
There's a depth to that nickname.
Yeah,
Something more than just a label.
exactly.
So what does Charlie do?
Well,
Does he try to bury these feelings and go through with the wedding?
Charlie's not the type to ignore his gut.
Okay.
He needs to understand these resurfacing emotions,
Mhm.
figure out why this blast from the past is hitting him so hard right before his wedding.
Right.
He convinces his best friend Seth,
Okay.
who's a bit more grounded
Yeah.
and works at a corporate record store, to hit the road with him.
Of course, every good road trip movie needs a solid sidekick.
Exactly.
They're on a mission to find Dakota.
They are.
But what about Gwen?
Gwen.
How does she fit into all of this?
Gwen, being the seemingly perfect fiancé, is outwardly supportive,
Right.
thinks it's just a last hurrah before the big day,
Yeah.
you know, typical pre-wedding jitters.
Mm-hmm.
But under the surface,
Yeah.
there's a sense that she knows something's not quite right, like a tiny crack in that picture-perfect facade.
This is where the tension starts to build.
Yes.
So Charlie and Seth embark on this quest to find Dakota.
Right.
What kind of journey are we talking about?
Think of it as a cross-country bus trip that becomes a microcosm of life itself.
Okay.
They meet a whole cast of characters who represent different paths Charlie could have taken,
Hmm.
or maybe still could.
Right.
There's this rowdy rugby team,
Okay.
full of bravado, reminiscing about their own wild banana whale days.
Uh-huh.
They embody that carefree, live-for-the-moment energy.
That sounds like a memorable encounter.
And then on the opposite end of the spectrum,
Right.
there's an older couple constantly bickering,
Uh-huh.
stuck in their routines.
Got it.
They represent that settled, predictable life that Charlie's about to step into.
It's like Charlie's getting a glimpse of all these alternate realities.
He is.
What about Seth?
Yeah.
Is he just along for the ride?
So,
Or is he on a journey of his own?
Seth, bless his heart, is looking for love. But he's also trying to break free from his corporate gig and find his own creative spark.
Right.
He ends up connecting with Tanya,
Okay.
a girl with a punk rock vibe, who challenges him to step outside his comfort zone.
I like it.
Oh, and she also happens to share his struggles with IBS,
Oh.
which leads to some awkward but hilarious moments.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued.
Right.
A bus full of rugby players?
Mm-hmm.
A bickering couple?
Yeah.
A punk rocker with IBS
Uh-huh.
and a guy searching for his banana whale ex.
It's a journey.
This is a recipe for some serious cinematic gold.
And then there's the nun.
Wait, a nun.
Yeah.
This just took an unexpected turn.
Not your typical habit-wearing, rosary, bead-counting nun.
Okay.
This one, let's call her Sister Agnes.
Okay.
Has this captivating energy, maybe even a little flirtatious. And she really challenges Charlie's preconceived notions about life, faith, and everything in between.
I'm sensing she's going to play a pivotal role in Charlie's journey.
I think you might be right.
What kind of wisdom does she impart?
Sister Agnes has a past, one that might surprise you.
All right.
She comes from a long line of banana whales, adventurers, and free spirits.
So she gets it.
She does.
Yeah.
She found her own path, a different kind of freedom.
Okay.
Through her faith. She shows Charlie that there's more than one way to break free from expectations and find your purpose.
Wow, that adds a whole other layer to the story.
Exactly.
So amidst all of this self-discovery and these quirky encounters,
Yeah.
do they actually find Dakota?
They do, but it's not the reunion Charlie envisioned.
Oh, wow. That's a heavy turn of events. What happened?
It turns out she was in an accident shortly after Charlie left her at a bus stop years ago.
Oh.
He never knew.
Wow.
Carried the guilt of thinking he'd abandoned her.
Right.
Now he's forced to confront all those unresolved feelings, the what-ifs and the could-have-beens.
This is getting intense. So what does he do? Does he just walk away?
Charlie's not built that way. He stays by her side, pouring his heart out to the comatose Dakota.
Wow.
Confessing his regrets, his confusion about his upcoming marriage, everything. It's a raw emotional outpouring, like he's finally letting go of the past.
I can only imagine the emotional weight of that scene.
Yeah.
And Dakota, is there any response?
This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Dakota wakes up.
She wakes up.
Yeah.
After all these years. So she heard everything Charlie said.
Every word.
Wow.
And now Charlie's faced with a choice he never anticipated having to make.
This is a major turning point.
Yes.
What happens next? We've got to know.
Well, for that, you'll have to wait for part 3.
Okay, we're back. And the stakes have just been raised sky high.
Yeah.
Dakota the banana whale herself
Right.
is awake and aware after all these years. Charlie's past and present have collided in a way he could never have imagined.
Right.
So what happens now?
This is where Banana Whale goes beyond just a love triangle. It becomes about Charlie confronting those deep-seated fears and expectations that have been shaping his choices. Dakota's awakening is a catalyst.
Great.
Forcing him to realize that he hasn't been living a life true to himself.
So it's not about picking between Dakota and Gwen.
No.
It's about Charlie finding his own path. I'm curious.
Yeah.
What does that look like for him?
Remember those hints we dropped earlier about his passion for music?
Yeah.
Well, that's where it all leads. He decides to take a risk, step away from the corporate world he's been stuck in, and open an independent record store with Seth and Tanya.
I like it.
It becomes this haven for music lovers.
Okay.
A space where they can share their passion and connect with others who get it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like he's finally found his tribe.
Right.
A place where he can truly be himself.
Exactly. And it's not just about the music. It's about Charlie embracing his creativity, that spark that's been dormant for too long. He's no longer the guy trying to fit into a mold. He's the guy who's creating his own mold.
I love that visual.
Thanks.
So what about Dakota?
Dakota.
Where does she fit into Charlie's new life?
Well, the movie doesn't tie everything up in a neat little bow.
Okay.
It leaves some things open-ended, which I think makes it even more powerful. Just as Charlie's settling into his new rhythm, Dakota shows up at the record store.
Oh, wow.
She's recovered, ready to start a new chapter herself.
So the banana whale swims back into his life.
She does.
Just as he's found his own current.
Yeah, it's that moment of, what now?
Right.
Will they rekindle their old flame?
Yeah.
Will they simply be friends who share this wild history?
Right.
The film leaves it up to the audience to imagine what happens next.
Interesting.
And I think that's the point. Life is full of these open endings.
Yeah.
These moments where we have to decide what path to take.
It's not about giving all the answers.
Exactly.
It's about leaving the audience with a sense of possibility.
I love that.
So we've gone from brainstorming off beer names
I know, right?
to crafting a full-fledged movie pitch
Pretty impressive.
with some pretty deep themes.
Kind of deep.
What's the takeaway for our listeners?
I think
Why should they care about a movie called Banana Whale?
it's a reminder that creativity can be sparked by anything, even something as simple as a beer name.
Right.
It's about taking that spark and letting it ignite your imagination.
I like that.
And who knows, maybe this exercise has inspired you to look at the world a little differently.
Yeah.
To find those hidden stories waiting to be told.
Exactly. So next time you're scrolling through that beer app
Yeah.
or just going about your day, keep your eyes and ears open.
For sure.
You never know what might spark your next creative masterpiece.
Right.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of beer-inspired movies.
It's been a blast.
And remember, there's a little bit of Banana Whale in all of us, waiting to be discovered.